Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast. Hosted by our headmaster, Jared Bachman Stubbs. You can find all of us here at the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. Our shows, the Nerd Academy Podcast, Knights of the Nerd Republic, and Campus Life are released weekly at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, check out our Patreon where every donation helps to keep the lights on.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed your little break last week. I know we sure as hell didn't. But we are back after some brief technical difficulties that, as you guys probably heard in Knights of the Nerd Republic, episode 1 of the Nerd Academy versus series for Knights of the Nerd Republic. Happy May the 4th. Go check that out. Anakin versus Darth Maul. It's a fun time. But we are back, and we are joined by Black Leader Travis Grossman. No words, just a king cry. Need I say more?
Cannot be more satisfying.
And we have Joel, the Sentinel Basin, back.
Hey, everyone. Nice to be back.
Yes, as fortune would have it, we are recording the Not Star Wars show on Star Wars Day. But if...
the way God intended.
Yes. However, we do have some Star Wars content out there for you guys. Like I said, I'm going to keep plugging it because I had a hell of a fun time recording it. The first episode of our Versus series is out, and I promise it is not as bad as Death Battle.
Fuck. No. We're not talking about that.
But that said, it will be Patreon content from now on, unless it gets released as a bonus episode. But yeah, so go listen to that and get some Star Wars goodness in your life. Unfortunately, we don't talk Star Wars news here, so we got to stay on target. But we do want to talk about briefly Taika Waititi directing a Star Wars movie. Whoop whoop, indeed.
Give me 5.
I'm sure it's going to be a really good time, and hopefully we actually hear about it. Unlike the Benioff and Weiss and Ryan Johnson stuff, which I hope isn't completely canceled. With that, Travis, how was your week, buddy?
I'm gonna die.
No, well, okay.
Well, don't do that.
It's finals week. I got hit in the head a bunch at work, and then someone committed domestic terrorism. So it was a fun weekend.
Right. Yeah, Jared even shared that on Facebook.
I wish I fabricated any part of that story. Like,
Honestly,
I wish any part of that was fake, and none of it is.
I think it goes without saying how much it pisses all of us off that are actual normal human beings in this world.
Just like... My cousin put it perfectly. It's like the layers, the quick... I can't talk today. I haven't slept in 36 hours. This is my 8th can of Mountain Dew today. I've also had coffee, and it's the only thing keeping me upright. My cousin commented on the thing that you posted, you shared my tweet, Jared, and she said, the quickness with which the bullshit build is almost impressive.
Yeah. It starts oh, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, you're weaponizing the virus. Oh, you're a coward because you ran away after it. But yeah.
Twas wild. Besides that, I've been putting way too much time into Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which...
We'll get into. Do you want to do that today with how tired you are?
That's what's going to make it fucking hilarious.
Okay, I'm counting on that.
Let me flip the whiteboard around so I don't forget anything.
Okay. Joel, while Travis is doing that, how was your week, buddy?
My week, and I do this every single time you ask me this, I think to myself, what did I do? Absolutely nothing. And it reminds me every single time of the John Mulaney bit.
I was just about to reference it too.
And how it's like nothing with a big smile. Nothing.
Absolutely
great.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And okay, so yeah, although that's true, I do have a lot going on over the past few days when it comes to studying for finals, as I'm sure everyone's doing now around these parts, everywhere. And I wish everybody not only the inspiration but the motivation. Or let's flip that around. Not only the motivation, but the inspiration to motivate yourself to study hard for your finals. And it's really hard during these times, being isolated in your home and finding the ability to concentrate. But I wish you all the best in studying, as I am trying my best.
Yeah, and something we're all really excited for here is once everybody's done with their finals. A, once everybody's done with their finals, and B, once the world goes back to some amount of normalcy, is we have a lot of fun content planned for you guys and coming down the pipeline. Come summer, once we can start seeing each other again, and once people's time is freed up as the other half of that, we got some cool stuff waiting for you guys. My week, the only really eventful thing about my week was that I made a mistake with my facial hair, and now my friends bully me endlessly.
You look, man, I even told you, like, it's not that you did it impulsively without telling anyone, because then I'd feel some kind of bad, and I've been holding back. I haven't taken the easy pot shots, right? Like, I don't do the whole, like, oh, you have a mustache, you're a pedophile. That's lazy.
That's lazy.
That's like making the punchline of your joke, and then he was gay.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even funny.
No, it's not. But yeah,
that being said, you look like you don't understand what's going on with your 13-year-old daughter.
Listen, our friend and loyal patron, the Waffle Wizard, Matt, dubbing me the TNAP dad is something that I carry with me with pride. And that may or may not be the only thing stopping me from just getting rid of the mustache wholesale.
I think if it comes in a little thicker, you could pull off like a thick mustache with like a very, very, like a 5 o'clock shadow.
Oh, I think Jared has the ability for a multitude of facial opportunities, facial hair opportunities. I know. I don't know if we want to bring this up, but Jared, do you remember my freshman year in college with Spencer, and we decided it was like the springtime of what was that, 2018? We decided to have a beard off.
Yeah, and despite the fact that neither of you can grow facial hair worth a damn.
Except I did pretty good, and then as of recently, I've been able to grow a beard pretty well, actually. But yeah. I've been shaving. I like to feel clean every once in a while, you know.
Spencer still can't. Spencer still can't. That poor son of a bitch.
If I can see my face, something is wrong, or it's convention season.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Which doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon.
You just have to, Jared, you have to promise me the next crazy thing you do is full-on mutton chops. Promise me.
I don't know about that
Okay,
one.
mutton chops is in the territory of I will have to lose a bet to do it.
Okay, but what if you did mutton chops that connected into your mustache? Like you did the whole...
I would have to lose a bet. That is something that you will have to wager me.
You didn't have to lose a bet for the fucking mustache?
No, because it's quarantine and I'm bored and I needed to change something. This is my version of cutting my own bangs. This is all I have left is to mutilate my beard.
To mutilate it some more. As someone who, like, wore not actual mutton chops, but basically mutton chops for a bit, do it. You'll regret it.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe.
It's the worst decision you'll ever make in your life. Do it.
Okay, I keep forgetting that Mike went on a rampage and changed a handful of nicknames last night. And I got really confused when it said that Lord Krishna was messaging into the TNAP chat.
I keep forgetting that Connor is Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
Right. I was so confused when that happened as well. Wait, this was last night, yeah?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because, I mean,
It's all been a blur.
You're right. Well, I know this is not the Star Wars podcast, but we should at least mention the fact that we were all up late last night and then realized that Connor found out. I think it was Connor that found out first.
They uploaded it early.
For May the 4th, they uploaded the episode early, and everybody decided to go watch it at 1 a.m. in the morning.
I had to wait because I promised a friend who comes up on this show all the time that I'd wait to watch it with her when she was done with homework. So I didn't finish the episode until like 5 a.m.
That's your fault.
She was up that late?
Yeah, she had a lot of work to do, and I also just don't sleep anymore either.
Wow.
And that's not by choice. Like I can't get my eyes to rest. So at the very least, I'm not spending that time alone, but I hate it so much. Anyway.
How about we get in here to some great news?
Some news?
Something we've waited a week for because we unfortunately couldn't report these things to you last week.
Yeah.
One of these stories has changed. The last one has been updated.
Yes,
not in the notes,
it has, but we can take it from there. So our first story here, which I was chomping at the bit to talk about last week, we have updates around the Venom sequel. We have we have a new title, and B, we have a new release date. So we have Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Coming out. It was originally supposed to come out this year, October 2nd, 2020, shooting for like a spooky time release like the first one. However, because of COVID-19 and all of the release schedule shuffling that has had to happen over the course of this year, it has now been moved to the spot that the Batman originally had, actually, June 25th, 2021. And we also have the update that there is the subtitle of Let There Be Carnage, obviously. And along with this, twice now, because it happened again, Tom Hardy has posted a picture to his Instagram of his version of Venom eating Tom Holland's Spider-Man alive and then deleting it within minutes. So I'm pretty sure, as you do, I'm pretty sure the only person who wants Tom Holland's Spider-Man dead more than Tom Hardy is High Top Films. But yeah, so we got new Venom stuff. Aren't you guys?
Is this like supposed to be? I don't know. What is this supposed to be? Considering we just had a Venom movie.
So it's a sequel to Venom. It's a sequel to Venom. However, it is supposed to take place in what Sony. This is another story, but like we'll just sandwich it in here. I believe Sony has a new name for its Marvel properties.
Oh wait, yeah, isn't it like the Spider-Man universe of characters?
Spider-Man universe of Marvel characters.
Oh my
But like
gosh.
the acronym for it is like SPUMAC. Like, Travis, you Googling it?
No, my phone buzzed. I can Google it if you want.
Could you please? I don't want to make sure I have the acronym right. Because I'm pretty sure it's something just gross sounding like SPUMAC. But yeah, so this is going to tie in all that. Presumably Morbius as well, which I don't know if we have a new release date for that yet or not.
Not that I've seen.
And maybe not part of the MCU, but not part of the MCU, but they're pretending that it is.
It's called the Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel Characters.
That's it.
It's still dumb.
Bums.
It's still Spoomic.
Booms. It's a bad remix of something.
It's a bad remix of MCU. That's what they're trying to make it, but they can't. But yeah, Venom is going to be bad. And I can't wait to make you guys watch it so that we can see the sequel together.
How does it make you feel that this movie took... Oh, what was that, Joel?
I really like the first one.
Oh, you did see Venom?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then you might want to get your head checked if you liked it. I'm just kidding. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I got a good laugh out of it. I love it in the same way I love movies like The Room or Attack of the Clones because it makes me laugh the whole way through.
It was very entertaining. Sometimes you just have to take it for what it is, and it was a funny movie, and I can't say much else about that. But
the question is, was it intentionally funny?
How does it make you guys? Yeah, how does it make you guys feel that this is now coming out when the next MCU Spider-Man movie was supposed to be coming out?
I'm kind of sad about that.
Oh, did this replace the Spider-Man movie or the Batman?
I mean, they were in the. I think it's closer to Batman's release, but like same time area, right? Like June, July, of 2021.
Oh no, I'm not happy. Not at all. I mean, this is a kick in the dick. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Like, hey, remember how excited you were for Spider-Man? Here's Venom instead.
Yeah. Hey, look on the bright side. Those set leaks make it look like Woody Harrelson isn't just wearing that shitty Napoleon Dynamite wig anymore for Cletus Cassidy. So there's an improvement there at the very least, but not a big one. But yeah, that is what we have for Venom related fare. Travis, since this next story has to do with ya boy, I'm gonna pitch this one to you, sir.
My boy is Taika Waititi, who just today, because it's Star Wars Day, got announced he's getting a new Star Wars movie, but that's not the news. The news is that because of Spider-Man moving days, Thor, Love and Thunder, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness got new release dates. And I remember when this... Well, no, they got new release dates.
Right. I'm just glad that they're hopefully okay. Actually, I don't know any information about this yet, but I really hope that they're better than the original new release dates.
Not by much. Actually, the one is worse. So I thought because like they moved Spider-Man back, I thought they were going to push them up 2 slots, right? Have Doctor Strange come out in the summer. Have Thor come out in like November time, like when Ragnarok came out a couple years ago. That is not the case. Doctor Strange actually got pushed even further back from November 5th, 2021 to March 25th, 2022. And Thor, Love and Thunder got moved up a week from February 18th to February 11th. I don't know why. That seems kind of pointless.
I really think it's so they have more time to fuck around with the Valentine's Day stuff. I really think that's why they did that.
But they could have done that on February 18th anyway. What day of the week is that? Oh, shit. I always think my calculator is my calendar for some reason.
Tomorrow isn't pie.
You're right.
Charming.
As I always am. Okay, so I guess the 11th works better because the 14th is going to be on a Sunday next year.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. It's 2022, not 2021. We got to go all the way forward, kids.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
So it's a Monday. So, like, the 11th is that Friday. That's going. I guess that does work better. Which almost assures then that they're going to shoot for the Valentine's Day thing, which is going to be hilarious.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I need a Korg Valentine to give to somebody.
I need a video of Korg just telling me Happy Valentine's Day, and even though that we're not in a relationship, that we all deserve love. I need that. I want that.
Travis,
hey guys.
Even though you're not in a relationship, you deserve love.
Hey guys, it's Korg here. I know you might be lonely, but don't worry, you will find love. You deserve it.
In the revolution.
In the revolution. Get a flyer.
But yeah, this is interesting stuff. I can't complain that Doctor Strange is coming out on my birthday now. That's fun. Last movie to come out on my birthday was Batman v Superman.
So hope it's almost impossible for it not to be a step up, but who knows?
I wonder if they pushed it back so far at Sam Raimi's behest. Like, I wonder if this
Maybe.
is like Raimi, like, I need time to figure out how to do some weird shit.
That, you know what? That might be right, actually. I didn't think about that. Because, I couldn't figure it out. Like, it makes no sense to move it forward. Or move it back even further. But if that's the case, I mean, I'm not complaining,
Yeah, no, give
them
it
all the
time.
they need. It's going to be figured out then. It'll be the movie they want to make, which is important. Yeah. Just super excited that these movies are still happening at all. That was the other thing I was thinking about earlier today, was that if this hadn't all started, this would have been our Black Widow review.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, we would have been reviewing Black Widow today. That was a funny thing I saw on Twitter was people were posting fake Black Widow spoilers. There was a hashtag for it, and I was flipping through it, and there was some funny shit in there.
Turns out they were all correct.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull that up on Twitter and see if I can still find any. Because they were a hoot.
Well, while you look, we should probably move on to the next story. Do you want to take it, or do you want me to take it?
I'll take the one following,
That's fair.
since that's definitely my game there.
Yeah.
Taskmaster
Not
is Korg.
Oh, what'd you say?
Taskmaster is Korg.
Please. Oh my God, please.
That was a funny one.
Hey guys, Korg here. Been memorizing all the fighting styles of the Avengers.
Oh, there was one in here that was like Natasha wakes up and like Endgame and Infinity War never happened. That I saw before. There was some really funny, just stupid funny shit. But all of them are buried now. So yeah, we can move into the next story.
So this has been floating around in the ether for a while, but now we got confirmation that J.J. Abrams has been working with Warner Brothers. They set up shop at Warner Brothers a while ago, and we now know what exactly he's working on, which is a Justice League Dark show for HBO Max. Why is it not on DC Universe?
Oh, for the same reason Harley Quinn is on Sci-Fi now.
What?
Yeah. I heard.
How did that show get put on cable? Not that it's bad. The fact that they say fuck every other word.
I saw something about they were airing episodes of Harley on Sci-Fi.
That's so weird.
They could do it the way that Cartoon Network handles Rick and Morty, where they just bleep it.
But I don't know, man. I didn't even realize season 2 had started. I'm not caught up at all with that show.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Did you guys see with the latest episode of Harley Quinn? I knew there was a new episode. I didn't know it was season 2 already.
Yeah, there's season 2.
They had these. They basically made fun of the fandom menace in the show.
Wait, I don't know if it was the Phantom Menace. I think it was the Snyder Cut people.
No, both of them are in there. There's a guy wearing a Release the Snyder Cut shirt, and he's talking to a guy wearing a shirt that says "The Last Jedi is not canon."
I do need to watch the rest of the show. I think it was better than I gave it credit for when I first started watching it.
Yeah, I've heard that it's only gotten better with time, but just that scene alone has my undying respect.
Yeah. Why am I reading about Kevin Feige on an article about HBO Max?
Because it all revolves around Feige.
I guess. Wait, what? I guess this project will also involve Greg Berlanti. Because why not? And we don't have a date for it.
Yeah, this is interesting stuff. Since Berlanti's involved, I would like to see this be canon to the Arrowverse, which means that they can have Constantine be played by Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, like they had him in there without. Like, I don't know that the old Constantine show was canon in the Arrowverse. It's just that he's just Constantine.
Yeah.
But
I hope that's my biggest wish for this.
I feel like he's kind of joined that echelon of like this person is always this character in every project they can be. Like Kevin was for Batman for a while, like Mark was for Joker. He is that for like I didn't even realize he had done the animated Constantine stuff.
Yeah.
That just cements it that he is like he's in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Which is great because he's perfect. Like
oh, absolutely. Like he has the mannerisms, he has the voice, I think he's like the only person charming enough on the planet to really, really work that character. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I've been going back and forth on whether or not I plan on getting HBO Max.
I mean, I have to for Green Lantern, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was really on the fence. I wasn't on the fence. I was probably like, I don't think I'm gonna get it, until I realized that they have the rights to Doctor Who.
Oh.
And the Doctor Who is going to be on HBO Max.
Is it not on Netflix anymore?
No, they took it off Netflix a while ago. It's been on Prime or Hulu for a while. But now Doctor Who's going straight to HBO Max, which, kind of ties my hands on that one. So I think I am going to have to buckle and get it so I can catch up on Doctor Who.
I'm just going to lump the DC Universe stuff in with it so I don't have to keep both.
That's probably going to happen really soon.
Yeah.
There's no way that's sustainable anymore.
Which is unfortunate because I like a lot of the stuff on there, but as long as I can get it somewhere,
Yeah. As long as you can watch Titans somewhere, that's all I care about.
We got the season 2 DVDs out on display now. And I want to break them all.
How angry do you get when you walk past? Like how much does your blood boil?
I twitch. Like I just start twitching feverishly. It's bad.
Travis is twitching and Dick is flipping.
Dick is flipping. Dick does flips.
Dick does flips indeed. Speaking of Doctor Who, like we were a moment ago.
Excuse me. This is my story.
This is your story. Oh, I'm sorry. Joel came out swinging on that one. He's like, back the fuck up. I get to talk about this
Travis
mess.
and I were talking earlier, and he was like, which one do you want? And I was like, I'll take it. It's like, I'm taking this one.
Look at Joel. He's the captain now.
Yeah.
All right. So, speaking of Doctor Who, BBC's studio has announced Time Lord Victorious will launch in September of 2020. And if you don't know, Time Lord Victorious is a brand new multi-platform Doctor Who story told across audio, novels, comics, vinyl, digital, immersive theater, escape rooms, and games, which, like, holy guacamole, this is like Doctor Who fanatics' dream. Absolutely.
This is Doctor Who trying to do what the the High Republic with Star Wars is doing before the High Republic comes out.
Right. But I don't know, just reading this article, I was just, wow, I just got really pumped up. And now, just so everyone knows, this Time Lord Victorious, that's what it's called, right? Yeah. Time Lord Victorious is centered around Doctors 8, 9, and 10, along with companions Rose Tyler and who else? Rose Tyler, and including your popular Nemesis, the Daleks, the Ood, and many other features. So, wow. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't have any information on whether it's considered this free program service thing or if this is going to be like a paid program.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be like, you're going to get a novel here, a comic here, audio drama here, and then there's escape rooms and whatnot that'll tie into it somehow. But yeah, it's interesting. I like whenever they try to do these multimedia things. This goes all the way back to the 90s whenever Star Wars did it with Shadows of the Empire, where they did a book and a comic that tied into the book, and a video game that tied into the book and the comic. So it's fun stuff. It's interesting. It's very experimental. I like seeing these multi-platform stories, and who knows? Maybe in the next scene of Doctor Who, there will be next season rather. There will be a scene that references some of the events of Time Lord Victorious that give it some amount of weight and reason to exist.
Yeah.
Travis, I cannot stop marveling at how big that beanbag is.
7 feet. 7 feet lengthwise.
I keep noticing you lay back on it, and I keep forgetting that it's only a beanbag.
Is that one that opens up into a bed?
No, I mean, I just sleep on it.
There's my roommate at college has one that unzips into a mattress.
That's rad.
Yeah,
it probably was expensive, but that's really cool.
Yeah, it was, he said, but like one of the things, I mean, personally, I hate it all the time because he leaves it out in the middle of the living room and it takes up like the whole living space.
I did that to my friends in my old apartment in Toledo. This sat in our living room all the time as part of our furniture.
Too much. And it's so awkward because like it'll like, you have to like stand it up on end because it gets flat after a while, and then you have to like try to like fluff it like an old pillow.
You have to kind of like zhuzh it and bring it back to life. Yeah,
zhuzh it. Yeah, that's the one.
That is exactly the word. The word that does not exist. But when you say you have to zhuzh something, everybody knows what the fuck that means. I couldn't even spell that. I couldn't spell that if you put a gun to my head. If someone's like, spell zhuzh, I'd tell you to shoot. But I know how to zhuzh a pillow.
That's when you spell out SHOOT. Just like one last bit of spite before you die.
Sarcastic to the very last breath. Travis, since this is another story that's a little bit more in your wheelhouse, I will give this one to you, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm the big talker for the rest of the show. Sony is apparently trying to make a live-action One Punch Man movie. It will be bad. It will not be good.
It will be bad.
It will be.
You heard it here first, folks.
Like, they're just... The whole point... Like, part of the whole point of anime is the animation style.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, how the artist renders their characters and how that plays. Like, part of what makes One Piece so cool is the art. Part of what makes any manga or anime so cool is the artwork. And like it doesn't translate well to life. It's like how like certain things in comic books don't translate well. Like how Spider-Man talks to himself all the time. I mean, they have to find some way to put that in.
Yeah.
Or how Batman talks to himself. And it doesn't work in live action because you're not reading it.
Yeah.
And it's just really awkward to hear Kevin Conroy muttering to himself the whole time. But like
I remember how being taken out of the game I was the first time I made the mistake whenever Bruce started monologuing to himself to turn the camera around to his face to see if he was actually talking or if it was just in his head. And then I saw his mouth moving and I was like, don't like it. This is strange. This feels like a Batman comic until I realize you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, and you'd think that, I mean, granted it's Sony, so they learn the wrong lessons every time. But, like, you'd think that this whole let's adapt an anime and make it live action thing would have fucking died by now.
Well, it's the same thing with video game movies, right? Like, it'll get a quick hit at the box office. It won't cost that much to make, probably. If anything, they'll have some kind of controversy on set that'll raise up free advertising. They'll get a nice big boost at the opening box office, and then it'll die off. I mean, that's how this always works. It's how it works with video game movies, too, usually. And thankfully, those have kind of died off, too.
Yeah, we haven't had one of those in a hot minute, and, like...
Guess what the most recent one was that I can think of?
What?
It might start with an A.
Oh, wait, no, Sonic.
Sonic isn't a video game. Sonic is an ideal.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I don't know if Jared's hearing this, but downtown, I hear people honking like it's a madhouse down there.
It's probably for the hospital.
Ah, okay.
It's probably one of those like cheering for the
Right.
heroes or whatever.
During
I
the
was
shift
super
change,
confused. All I'm hearing is
What are you hearing, Joel?
Thank you.
See, part of me wishes just to be a smartass. He like reached under his bed and pulled out his saxophone, just like, "What are you hearing, Joe?"
Immediately breaks into Careless Whisper.
Yeah, I'd love that. But no, like the video game movie thing is like slowly getting better though, because like the balance between trying to just make a generic action adventure movie and having it in that lore, they're getting slowly better at it. But
Not by much.
not by much. But like, what was the last big live action anime movie to come out? Fucking Death Note.
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell come out after Death Note?
Death Note was only Netflix.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so Ghost in the Shell was the last like blockbuster to hit theaters, and it still didn't do good.
No, it didn't. Especially with the main character who was always a white woman, apparently.
Well, okay, so like, and that's part of the problem is that because this art style of anime is so exaggerated, when you cast an Asian person in that role, they almost don't look correct. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it so, like, that. The whole point of anime is that everything, including the art style, is super exaggerated.
Yeah, like most of the characters don't even look like people. Like it's like, how do you even
Yeah.
like how do you cast any person who looks like this except for like an actor who just like already has like a very striking face who would work for it? But there's still that appropriation issue. It's very weird, murky waters.
Yeah, exactly. So like, especially when it's like they got around it with Death Note by setting it in like it wasn't set in Japan, it was set in America.
Yeah.
And the whole point of restructuring the plot so it was set in America, and that movie was still trash.
Yeah.
But at least it wasn't racist.
At least it wasn't racist trash.
Yeah. But like it doesn't commute. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And
It's gonna be bad.
it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be real bad. Real quick, I will take this story and then we can segue it into our discussion topic this week. That we're gonna see if we can do this whole news and then a topic type show. But we've been sitting on this for a little bit and have been brutalizing Travis to do it. Well, Travis has been brutalizing himself because he took a joke too seriously.
Yeah, I don't want to put this on you guys. I definitely started this.
So we had the announcement for the new Assassin's Creed video game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Looks like some fun. You know, it's an interesting era that I don't think anybody really saw coming. The trailer is fun, except for the fact that this guy's totally not an assassin by any means. This was just a war game.
The guy was Edward Kenway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is the point. Like, that's why I'm excited for this one, is that they have the lead writer from Assassin's Creed 4 back, and Assassin's Creed 4 was the last good story in the series.
I would argue Unity, but you haven't played Unity yet.
That's true. Unity I've seen on the fence, but everyone's like really in line with like 4 is really good, and I agree 4 is really good. But like, so from what I've gathered, it's just going to be Black Flag, where you're a pirate who happens to stumble upon the assassins, but with Vikings, and that's really fucking cool. And I want to fight with 2 axes.
I want to fight with Axmus. But speaking of Assassin's Creed, and I think I'm going to give this one a shot. I think I'm going to try Assassin's Creed again. I think I'm going to do it.
Nothing like what you remember.
I know. Like I said, I played Origins for 3 hours and went, this ain't for me. But I want to give this one a shot and see if I can get back into it. And if not, I will just sell the game. Travis has taken up a little project during quarantine. He has researched. Okay, no, I'm not even going to take away this monstrosity from you.
Assassin's Creed got away from me around 4. I stopped playing when 4 came out. I didn't get it. Because it was the generation jump and I didn't get a PS4 right away. I didn't want to play it on PS3, so I waited. And then Unity came out before I got, or like right around the time I got a PS4, and it was trash because the game didn't run. So
game didn't run.
For most people, it didn't.
I know.
So I just dropped the series, and then at some point I got curious about how like the modern day story was going, and it's batshit insane. And I was like, I wonder what kind of historical stuff they've tried to pass off since then. And I forgot how much they'd already put into the games that I had forgotten about. So I have taken it upon myself to the best of my ability, construct the historical timeline of the Assassin's Creed universe.
Now this is going to be fun because
from 75,000 BCE to modern day.
Now the fun thing is going to be I used to religiously play Assassin's Creed as well and quit after Unity. Joel is new to all of this.
Not completely new, but relatively new.
Like you don't know the deep lore, is what I'm saying.
No,
yeah.
I don't. I love the storyline. Like I know the premise of the storyline. And frankly, I have I don't know, this weird personal, like, I don't know. Do you get that? Like you feel, I mean, obviously you do with Star Wars, but like you feel so related to that kind of life, that kind of like,
yeah, it's the kind of story you
world.
like. Yeah. It's very much in your like aesthetic. Yeah.
So, I just, sometimes I was like, damn, I wish I could be a part of that world. But like, I haven't played the video games, and nor do I have.
Man, I wish I could kill people for a living.
Well, here's my issue with the video games, is that from my experience, I played a little bit of it, but I played more. What was it? It's the Lord of the Rings version.
Shadow of Mordor.
Thank you. I played more Shadow of Mordor than I ever did Assassin's Creed, but I played a little bit of Assassin's Creed first. And the main differences I found was Shadow of Mordor was, okay, let's beat the crap out of every single person the whole friggin' time long. Okay? Where Assassin's Creed, there were like all of these quests and stuff that you could do, but like you spend 60% of your time traveling.
Yeah, so the like kind of the point of, I'm gonna say the point of the games are different, but like the only thing Shadow of Mordor really like takes from Assassin's Creed is the parkour. And like it does a better job of the like you can pick your play style where you can go really heavy into I'm gonna beat the shit out of everyone or I'm gonna stealth my way around. So quick premise for I want to go into like some quick little development cycle stuff for Assassin's Creed 1 that'll help explain some stuff. Some things in the modern day that have never come up again that are batshit insane. And also just like where the concepts came from for this game. So Ubisoft started developing Assassin's Creed right after Prince of Persia in the Sands of Time in 2003. The parkour was really fun. The combat was really fun. The storytelling element of when you died, it was just the prince telling the story wrong, so he'd rewind time, right? And they were like, that's a really fun concept. We want to play more with that. We want to play more with history, like actual history and like stuff like that. They fell in love with the actual group called the like I forget the actual word, the Arabic word for it, but it was assassins from the Crusades era.
Yeah.
That They existed. They were real, and
they were exactly like this.
100%. Nothing was changed. So over time, they developed this game where you played as an assassin that was a bodyguard to the Prince of Persia. And then Ubisoft went, hey, wait, why would we release the Prince of Persia game where you didn't play as the Prince of Persia? And the development team went, shit, you right. So they cut the Prince of Persia out.
I didn't know. I knew that like it started with them looking at Prince of Persia. I didn't realize it was originally meant to be a Prince of Persia tie-in.
Yeah, it was a sequel. It was it was going to be the next game in the series. They played a lot with the idea of you could just climb anywhere you wanted and like really use the terrain to your advantage. When developing the looks of the assassins, they really hooked onto the idea of a bird of prey, which is why everything's eagle themed. The robes are designed in a way so that when they would leap off a tower, the shadow they cast would be the shadow of an eagle.
Interesting. I never noticed that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that till like a couple weeks ago. But like the beaked hood, there's eagles everywhere in these fucking games.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely and their way for contextualizing it as this is how history really was. Obviously, Ubisoft does not believe this is how history is happening. I hope.
I wish it was. That'd be funny.
Well, they might. We'll get there. They might be. The way they contextualize that is that in the game you are playing as a person in the modern day, reliving the genetic memories of your ancestors. So, like, you are forced to live history as it happened.
Yeah.
And now we go in the Wayback Machine. Oh, and then also the story centralizes around the ongoing conflict between a group called the Assassins and a group called the Templars. Only they haven't always been the Templars, because the Templar Knights only existed during the Crusades and not before that. But the group
except when you watch National Treasure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which at this point, let's just assume that National Treasure is canon to Assassin's Creed.
Let's just
Nicolas Cage is an assassin.
say it's canon to the world. I don't know what you're talking about.
It happened. It really happened. So we got to take a trip back in the Wayback Machine to like 75,000 BCE. The world is inhabited by an ancient race called the Isu, who are basically the foundation for every mythology and religion that humans know. They are advanced, civilized, they have incredibly powerful technology. Water. And one day, in around, I want to say 77,000 BCE, so actually before that, they're like, hey, we need slaves. So they pick a monkey they like, and they did some work on it, made it bipedal, made it look like them, and you have humans.
I'm already imagining the TikTok meme with the audio from the Kung Fu Panda cartoon, where it's just like, why did you save me? Monkey.
So when they developed humans, they put a neurotransmitter in our brains that reacted to objects they created that later become known as pieces of Eden. These things let the Isu control. Oh, so the Isu, if you've played Assassin's Creed but haven't played the recent games, are the ones that referred to as the ones who came before the precursor race or the first civilization.
Yes.
They have a name now. Because why the hell not? The pieces of Eden lock us into mind control so that the Isu can just kind of work us at will, right? We just do what they want all the time without complaining. And it worked pretty well for a while. And then some of the Isu got kind of horny.
The Isu just wanted to smash.
Are you going to continue that sentence?
And they fucked some humans, and now you have Isu human hybrids who don't have the neural transmitters. And they realize, hey, being a slave kind of sucks. We don't like this. So two of them, named Adam and Eve,
Of course.
because why the hell not?
Why not just, rewrite the whole definition of any form of...
Well, that's the
That's
thing is that,
religion.
yeah, they are the Isu are what create our perception of religion. Like all of the religions go back to different versions.
because we don't need enough conspiracy theories.
Of course. Adam and Eve break into a factory, steal an apple of Eden, and start a revolt that becomes a full-scale war between the humans and the Isu. While that's happening, now we're back to around 75,000 BCE. There are exact years for this if you want to look it up, but I don't fucking care. The Isu realize that the sun's about to scorch the earth. Just cuz. And they go, hey, that's not good. And they pick out 3 scientists and go, hey, go work on this. And 3 scientists and one of their husbands goes into a temple under what is now Capitoline Hill and begin work on a way to save the planet from the sun giving us a really bad toast session. These 3 are Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva. I kept wanting to say Melinda. It's not Melinda. It's Minerva.
It is.
Wow,
We have-
Travis, you know a lot about this.
We have Linda, we have Karen, and we have Janet.
So Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva are... Oh, and Juno's husband, Aida.
Can't forget about Aida.
It's actually, he's really important. Are in this temple trying to find ways to save the planet. Over time, Juno decides she wants to just enslave humanity again, and that fucking us was a mistake, which of course it was. Why would they do that in the first place?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
When you're just so horny, you have to fuck your subordinates.
No, that's not what I meant. No, I wasn't. Okay.
We're not talking about colonial America yet. Jeez.
We're not there yet.
Not even close. So while they're in there, they come up with a bunch of different ideas. None of them work. Juno's like, hey, I'm going to enslave humanity when we get out of this because they deserve it. Fuck them. Also, they consider putting their consciousness in sturdier, not flesh bodies. So Juno attempts this with Aida and fails, but preserves his DNA and encodes it into the human genome so that randomly throughout history, babies can be born as human reincarnations of Aida.
Sounds about right.
This becomes relevant later. Ultimately, they build a device called the Eye that will launch an aurora borealis that will block the sun's death rays and save the planet. Juno tampers with it, and then when the other 2 find out she wants to enslave people, they go, hey, don't. And they kind of kill her, but kind of don't. And she goes into cyberspace limbo thing called the Gray. Then Jupiter and Minerva are like, hey, okay, we're going to activate the Eye, save the planet, win the war, things are going to be great. Except they realize if they activate the Eye, Juno will get out because she messed with it before she got not killed.
Killed.
And they decide, I just realized how contradictory this is. So they've already basically killed her. So if they activate this, she'll get out. Why wouldn't they just do it and then kill her again? What was stopping them from doing that? I don't know. I don't understand. Why? But Minerva decides in her infinite wisdom that it is better for the earth to burn than to kill Juno again. So the earth burns a lot. When the carnage is over, there are less than 10,000 people, humans, and even fewer Isu. Minerva builds a second eye to project. Oh, also, I should mention the Isu have a sixth sense that lets them basically predict and see through all of time. It gets less exact the further out they look, but there are key events that are kind of like in Doctor Who. There are events in time that are locked. They have to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. To go a little further, Ezio going into the vault in Assassin's Creed 2 is locked. That has to happen. So Minerva leaves. They all do this, but chiefly Minerva leaves messages throughout history for people to find, to hopefully prevent what they know is coming, which is a second catastrophe, which will happen in the year 2012 CE. Who would have thunk?
Because these games were made when that was a thing.
Yes. They actually rushed Assassin's Creed 3 to make sure that it came out during 2012.
Of course they
It
did.
should have had. It should have had a few more months. After it had 4 years.
After it had 4 years.
3. I lied. 3 years. It should have had a few more months. So the world burns up. Minerva and Jupiter and now Juno in the Gray are leaving messages all throughout time. And the Isu and humans decide that the only way to move on is to work together to rebuild society. Only there's so few Isu left that they eventually die off. Not before having more hybrid kids. So there are now several humans passing on the genetic data of not having the neurotransmitters. Some of these humans also possess a very, very basic version of that sixth sense that becomes known as eagle vision. Because eagles and birds of prey. Eagle vision lets you kind of see people's alliances, predict where they're going to move, and see where they're traveling.
Spider sense.
Yeah, it's kind of a spider sense.
Something that's very, very, very beneficial to those assassins.
It's almost like it's built to be a game mechanic and not a lore thing.
Almost.
Weird. Time moves on by a lot. We're now in 438 BCE. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey is happening. It's not an Assassin's Creed game. None of it matters. Except there's a bunch of new pieces of Eden that we didn't know about before this game. Chiefly the Spear of Leonidas and the Staff of Hermes, which grants immortality.
Okay, that is kind of an important item.
And at the end of the game, oh yeah, Atlantis is real. It was an Isu city. And,
Checks out.
At the end of the game, a mercenary named Cassandra acquires the Staff of Hermes. I don't know about what happens in the rest of the story because it's so malleable. I don't know what's canon. I haven't finished the game yet, and none of it really fucking matters. Also, a little before she gets the staff, we meet a man called Darius. He has invented a blade that you wear on your wrist that you can pop out at will, almost like it's hidden. Weird.
A hidden blade.
He wears it over top of his wrist, meaning the guy, Anor, don't remember his name. The guy in the Valhalla trailer is actually wearing it correctly.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's also, we'll get to why, but that's why they cut their fingers off for 1,000 years, is because they're wearing it wrong.
Because they're wearing
Darius uses that hidden blade to assassinate a king. I don't remember who it is. I don't care who it is. Darius's son and Cassandra have a kid. Darius then takes that kid to Egypt. And that family line eventually leads to a young woman named Aya. Yes. They felt the need to connect these bloodlines after a point where you don't need to be related to the ancestor anymore. Because fuck you, that's why.
I'm sorry, can we please go back for a moment?
Okay.
I'm still trying to think about the whole wearing of the blade thing, you said that they've been wearing it wrong all this time. The inventor created it to be worn a different way
Darius wears it on top of the wrist.
instead of under the wrist.
Yeah, because the way it's initially designed, if you wear it under the wrist, the blade falls directly in path with your ring finger if you have an enclosed fist. Like, you can see my camera, right?
Yeah.
If you hold your hand out of place and the blade's here, as it comes out, it'll slice through your finger.
Right, and so
it.
that's why they cut them off all that time, so then you didn't have to worry about that?
Yes. Well,
And so you could just punch someone and it would already be through your fist?
So basically, yeah, we'll get there in a second. So we fast forward another 300 years, 350, 370 years, something like that. We're now in around 48 BCE, and we're following a man named Bayek of Siwa, who is really cool. I like Bayek a lot.
Bayek's a G. I didn't play a whole lot of Origins, but Bayek is a G.
He's like probably the second best protagonist in Assassin's Creed. No cap. Maybe third. Varies a bit for me. Bayek and his wife, Aya, descendant of Cassandra, you know,
Yep.
as you do, and Darius, right? Because we got to connect everyone, I guess.
Everything, yeah.
Everyone's got to be related now, even though it doesn't matter anymore. We'll get to that in a minute, in an hour. Bayek and Aya are married and have a son. Bayek is a part of an ancient group called the Magi, which in ancient Egypt, the Magi protected the pharaoh of Egypt back in like Giza days. Now he's kind of just Egypt's cop. Like they're one
He's Egypt's cop. The cop.
cop. Also their dad. Like he's super dad to everyone. And I love it. Except to his kid who dies.
Yeah. I got to that. I got to the kid getting killed.
Bayek and his son get kidnapped because he's a Magi. This group called the Order of the Ancients believes that he has some way to access a vault underneath in his village.
And I'm assuming this group is like the Proto-Templars.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's in ancient Greece there was the cult of the cosmos. They're the Proto-Templars, and then the Order of the Ancients are the Proto-Templars. In fact, I think they're going to be in Valhalla. I think they're still going to be referred to as that.
Okay.
So they're pressuring Bayek to open this vault. He doesn't know how to open the vault. In the scuffle, his son is killed, and now he's on a revenge quest to kill everyone in the Order of the Ancients. Of note, the first real assassination you do in the game, you bludgeon a man to death with an apple of Eden.
Yeah.
Which, it might be the funniest thing fucking ever. Ancient artifacts able to make illusions and mind control people. I'm gonna beat someone in the face with it.
Some even shoot lasers. I don't want lasers. I want thunk.
Sounds about right.
Bayek and Aya eventually align themselves with Cleopatra, trying to make her queen of Egypt, while also taking out members of the Order of the Ancients. Aya happens to have Darius's hidden blade, because family line, and gives it to Bayek to use as a stealth weapon. They put it on Bayek wrong, and he's now wearing it under his wrist, which means that it could hurt him, but it's more hidden. The next target he goes to assassinate, he doesn't. For some reason, he tries to he's wearing the knife, and he's in a bathhouse, and he tries to drown him instead of just stabbing him like a normal person. But that doesn't work. They get in a scuffle. And in the scuffle, he cuts his ring finger off with the hidden blade. We fast forward some more. Cleopatra marries Julius Caesar. They are now the biggest power couple in the Western world. Holy shit.
It's like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Basically, only super evil, because guess what? Caesar is the father of understanding, baby.
Oh.
When you get to him, you realize he is actually in charge of the Order of the Ancients. That's a no good. Bayek and Aya realize that their marriage.
No, this is not going where I think it's going.
Bayek and Aya realize that their marriage is not meant to be. Everywhere they go, they just get really sad and remember their kid. So they split up in good parting to start a group called the Hidden Ones, meant to keep order and keep preserve the human race's free will from the power people, higher class. That's what I meant to say.
The power people.
The power people.
I want to read. I want to read some like economic theory, but like written in Travis speak. So like instead of things like the ruling, instead of like the bourgeois and the ruling class and capital, it's the power people.
Power people. Bayek stays behind in Egypt while Aya moves to Rome, takes up the name Amunet. That's important. Not important, but important for later. And proceeds to kill Julius Caesar and Cleopatra.
I had a feeling they were about to say the assassins killed Caesar and just stabbed him a lot to make it look like that's fucking hilarious. Oh my God.
Brutus does still get the last stab, right? It's still historically correct.
Okay.
And then she mentions, so like you don't see her kill Cleopatra, but as the game ends in her monologue, she mentions she takes up the name Amunet, which you know from later on in the game, she's the assassin that kills Cleopatra.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing to happen of note is Jesus is the first person to respawn.
For fuck's sake.
Another piece of Eden called the Shroud of Eden. There are several of everything. Like there's several apples, there's several staves.
I love how out of the way they go to like accommodate your normal image of the world and try to make it believable.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Like I swear they had what do you call them? Like concentration groups? That sounds awful. What are they? Like,
focus groups.
Focus groups.
Concentration groups. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, they went on camping trips a lot, you know.
Stop. We're done with that. I'm killing this bit right now.
Oh, you're not even ready for when we get to World War II, man. It's going to get wild.
Sorry. But anyways.
But, like, they have focus groups to, like, how can we warp this point in history
right
to fit our... Yeah. So, like, we don't know much about the life of Jesus Christ other than he did possess a Shroud of Eden, and it's probably how he didn't die on the cross.
Right, because we have to give him an explanation.
Yeah.
Besides, the Son of God.
Because in this world, right? Like,
yeah, this version of the narrative, yeah.
Yeah. So Shrouds of Eden heal people. This is important for later. I'm going to say that a lot. We then fast forward a lot more, another 1,000 years, to the Third Crusade, where we follow the life of Altair ibn Ahad, an assassin, part of the actual assassins, like the ones these are all based off of. Valhalla falls in like the 9th century, by the way. So Valhalla's story will take place before this. Altair is a master assassin, really cocky, and is only known the life of an assassin. He is tasked with retrieving an apple, fucks that up royally, gets the apple, but gets 2 people killed. Two assassins killed, and gets demoted. After he's demoted, he goes through killing a bunch of Templars in the area for his master Al-Malim, until he finds out that Al-Malim is actually a Templar, I think. I don't think the game ever calls him a Templar, but his ideals are very similar to the Templars, and he has an apple, so he's probably a Templar. You fight Al-Malim, you kill Al-Malim. Shocker. Altair takes the apple and takes control of the assassins for a bit, until some things go haywire and he gets kicked out for treason that he didn't commit. He has some kids during all of this.
Naturally.
Because, this is when the bloodline shit matters. He takes the apple, leaves Masyaf Castle. That's the castle the assassins live in.
So hold up. This is Altair.
Assassin's Creed 1.
No, it's Assassin's Creed 1. He is descended from all the people we've already talked about as well?
No. Not as far as we know.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they tried to tie it in. But like for whatever, so in Assassin's Creed 2 later, we get these 6 statues of really famous ancient assassins like Darius and Amunet. And for some reason, it seems like they're trying to make all 6 of them related for no fucking reason. I don't think Altair is related to them because that would be really fucking weird. But who knows?
Yeah.
So Altair takes the apple, goes into exile for like 20 years, and just learns so much shit. The apples also store a ton of ancient knowledge, as well as like predictions for the world. Like the things the Isu saw with their sixth sense are recorded in the apples.
Okay.
During this time, Altair adjusts the hidden blade. Oh yeah, and they've been cutting their fingers off because Bayek cut his finger off by accident, and that was like they didn't have to. You don't have to do it to use the hidden blade. It's just like it's easier to do it now than by accident.
Yeah.
You know? And also it was their way of like we align ourselves with this group and your creed, and like a way of showing commitment.
Yeah.
Altair adjusts the hidden blade design so it will no longer go through your finger by accident, so you don't have to cut your finger off anymore. Also realizes, hey, wearing 2 of these could be cool. Develops a small like needle blade to deliver poison. Develops the gun in 12th century CE.
Altair was the first member of the NRA.
I think it's alluded to that he saw 9/11.
Whoa! What?
Possibly. He either saw 9/11 or the catastrophe of the Isu and that world burning. Because in one of his codex pages that he writes, he refers to seeing 2 burning towers of metal.
Since he specifically says 2 burning towers, it's
Yeah, I can't hear
probably...
you.
So yeah, if it is 2 towers that he's calling out specifically, it's most likely September 11th, which is macabre in its own way. I wonder.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I wonder if with the apple, if he foresaw Harambe dying.
No one could have foresaw Harambe dying.
That is what the Assassin's Creed games should have been about: saving Harambe's life.
Oh my god.
The Templars wanted Harambe dead.
They absolutely did. That was like
Because he's a symbol of free will.
Yeah. Oh jeez. So he invents the gun in the 12th century. That still blows my mind that they tried to pull that one off.
Hey, you know what? That's how good he is. That's that Isu blood. Isu blood.
He goes back to Masyaf Castle and once again becomes the mentor of the assassins. Mentor is like the head position. He sells all his books, puts important memories of his life, specifically post-killing Al-Mualim, onto 5 Isu artifact discs? Keys?
Holocrons.
They don't explain how they work, but they're clearly from Isu era. They record his memories so that other people can experience them. And they also act as keys to his personal library in the basement of Masyaf Castle, where at the end of his life, when the Mongols are coming to invade, He gives the keys to Niccolo Polo, says to spread them out through Constantinople, sends the assassins away to live amongst the people, to protect the people, and dies in his library.
Okay.
And he's like really old. He's like 100-something.
That is ancient by the standards of that time, too.
I might be wrong. He might be like 80-something. I don't remember. He's old. It's an old man. Old dude.
He's either over 100 years old or he's just 80. Either way, the man has dust for breath.
Basically. We fast forward to 1476 CE in the beautiful, beautiful nation of Italy. Mamma mia.
I keep thinking that since I can see you guys, they can see us, but I'm doing spaghetti hands.
On my personal timeline that I have written up, I have Ezio as best boy, and that's all you need to know.
So I'm assuming there's no weird fuckery that happens with Ezio?
Oh, there's so much weird fuckery. There's so much.
Okay, now where does the Africa thing come into play?
Africa thing? Oh, that's way down the line.
Okay.
That's 2006.
That happened in 2006?
Dude, we will get there. It still doesn't make sense. So, Ezio Auditore is the son of a Italian nobleman and banker in Florence named Giovanni, who is an assassin. His older brother, Federico, I always forget his name because he dies right away, is also an assassin, and Ezio knows nothing about it until they are wrongfully arrested for treason and executed. Ezio is thrust into the life of an assassin by his uncle, Mario Auditore, after he flees Florence with his mother and sister, and hunts down the people responsible for his father and brother's wrongful execution. During this time, he collects the pages of Altair's personal codex, detailing things he saw from the apple, designs for the second hidden blade, a way to design the blade to not cut your finger off, the poison blade, the gun, all the things that Altair had before he died. With the help of Leonardo da Vinci, your boy, Ezio gets all of these fabulous contraptions, kills all of the men responsible in Florence, but finds out there's more of them in Venice and moves on to the floating city, where he assassinates several city leaders, like the same position. It just keeps getting refilled, and he keeps killing them. It's really funny. Ultimately trying to work his way up to a man named Rodrigo Borgia, a Spaniard who is a cardinal. Eventually, we find out about this prophecy. A prophet will appear when a piece of Eden is brought to a floating city, and that 2 pieces of Eden, including that one, are required to open a vault somewhere that houses an ancient power. At some point, Borgia sends people to Cyprus to recover a piece of Eden and bring it back to Venice, which, as I just noted, has the nickname the Floating City.
Yes. So do they know about the prophecy and are actively trying to fulfill it?
Yeah, Borgia does.
Okay, nobody else realizes what his goal is.
No, both sides are aware of what's happening, but not quite to the extent of what it means.
Okay.
So the apple from Cyprus is brought to Venice. Ezio manages to retrieve it, and it's revealed that he is indeed the prophet. This is important.
Okay.
Over the next decade or so, the apple changes hands a couple times. Leonardo da Vinci, an ongoing theme throughout the series is that whatever the master inventor of the time is comes in contact with an apple and uses it to fuel their inventions. Specifically, Leonardo da Vinci touches it, activates it for a minute, immediately turns it off and goes, "No one should ever fucking look at that."
I like that.
That is dangerous.
So that explains why. So that's why Da Vinci's like the master inventor that he is.
He already like was very brilliant, but then like he has the capability to build the designs that the Apple is showing him. Things like miniguns and tanks, which he does design for the Borgia later on. We'll get there. Over that decade, Rodrigo Borgia becomes Pope. And it's suddenly very evident that the vault is underneath the Vatican, and the second piece of Eden is the papal staff. Which leads to what should be the final confrontation between Ezio and Rodrigo, but it isn't. Ezio invades the Vatican, fights Rodrigo twice, eventually defeats him, and then realizes in a personal soul-searching moment that if he kills Rodrigo, he will never break this cycle of vengeance, and decides to let him live because there's no point in killing him. Ezio's gotten the vault. That's all that matters. Ezio goes into the vault, which is an Isu temple, to discover a message from Minerva, warning of an ancient catastrophe, the need to search out other temples, and that this message is actually for a person named Desmond.
Ah, okay.
Ezio, rightfully so, as a man living in like literally 1499, is freaked out because he just saw a hologram of a god talking to a ghost, talking about the world ending.
That's a lot to take in for anybody.
Yeah. So his Uncle Mario comes and collects him, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "We got some shit to talk about."
Say, "Hey, it's a me."
So him and Mario leave Rome and go back to their villa in Monteriggioni.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Mushroom Kingdom.
No. They make one Mario joke in the entire trilogy. It's when he first shows up. Because Ezio doesn't recognize him, and he goes, "Don't you recognize me? It's a me, Mario." And they never do it again, thank God.
How much of a screeching halt does the story stop for that joke?
Not much.
That's good.
Because you're still in the mayhem of like trying to escape Florence, so it's not too bad. Turns out he should have killed Rodrigo because his son Cesare Borgia, leader of the papal army, is now invading Monteriggioni. Abducts Mario, kills him, and steals the Apple of Eden, prompting Ezio to hightail it to Rome, where he eventually rebuys the underground and constructs it from the ground up, rebuilds the assassin order in Rome, and rightfully claims his place as the mentor. Again, that's kind of like the leader of the assassins. Cesare kills Rodrigo, and then some kerfuckery happens after that. Eventually, the apple ends up back in Ezio's hands, and he kills Cesare. And he realizes that no one should ever touch this thing again until they're supposed to. So he finds another vault underneath the Colosseum, and he hides that apple in the Colosseum. Then, in 1504, he decides to go hunt down an old thing his dad was writing about right before he died, about Altair's library in Masyaf Castle. Weird. He goes to Masyaf Castle, and guess what? It's overrun with Templars. Who knew? After escaping Masyaf Castle and realizing he needs to find the 5 keys, we go through a really dumb subplot in Constantinople. It doesn't matter. Ezio gets the keys, meets his wife, Sophia, a nice Venetian woman with red hair. She's beautiful. They go back to Masyaf Castle, where he goes into the library to find an Altair's Apple of Eden, to which he reasonably takes off his armor and weapons and says, "Fuck this, I retire."
I can't do this shit anymore.
But realizes that there's probably a message in there for this Desmond fella, so he touches the apple one last time. And now Jupiter comes out and speaks to Desmond about again that there was a great catastrophe and that where he needs to go, which is the Capitoline Hill Temple. Ezio retires with his wife Sophia. They have a couple, I think one kid. I think just one. Which is kind of impressive considering Ezio's in his 50s. And Sophia's almost 40, which, especially back then, would have been fucking wild to have a kid and survive.
Yeah, she does not have the odds on her favor.
No. Ezio comes across another Isu artifact that we only know is called a precursor box. We don't know what it does or what it's for. We just know he gives it to a Chinese assassin who comes to seek advice from him. And then she fucks off. There's a whole game about her that I haven't played or read up about, and I don't really care to.
That's one of like the weird spin-off handheld games, right?
The side-scroller games. Chronicles.
Okay.
There's 3 of them. There's one in China, one in India, and I forget where the third one is. Russia. I haven't played those. I don't know the story in those. They're probably important. I don't really care. Ezio dies, I think it's 65, sitting on a bench in Florence. It's beautiful. I cried. Briefly, we take a visit to 1567 CE, where Queen Elizabeth I beats back the Catholics in England with an Apple of Eden. Which is how she wins against Mary, Queen of Scots. You know the deal. Then we fast forward to the Yo-Ho Boys of 1715.
Yo-Ho
and we meet a
boys.
man named Edward Kenway. On my list, it says 1715 CE. Edward Kenway finds the observatory, a sage, and a daughter.
And a daughter.
Edward leaves his life in London to be a privateer, eventually becomes a pirate, where he basically lives out a perverted version of the actual creed of the assassins. Stumbles upon the assassins, goes, "You're fucking dumb," and leaves. Then he meets a guy named Robert, who is one of these reincarnations of Aida. These fellas come to be known as sages. And like I said, they're just people that are reincarnations of the Isu Aida. They, in tandem, find a place called the Observatory, where with a sample of somebody's blood, you can see everything they're doing. So it's like Isu NSA.
Isu NSA.
And that place never becomes relevant again because it gets destroyed. The sage is killed. All of Edward's friends die. He eventually joins the assassins because he matures, and then finds out that before he left his estranged wife in London, they had a kid without him knowing. And he gets to meet his daughter and head back to London. When he lives back in London, he becomes co-mentor of the assassins with a guy whose name I don't remember. But he is in one of the games. He has a son named Hatham, and they go to the opera together. It's cute.
And Hatham will not be important for any future games.
Of course not. Anyway, now we're in the 1750s, and Hatham goes back to the opera. Oh yeah, Edward is killed in his home. That's all.
I forgot that Edward was murdered.
Yeah, it's in a book.
Was it a Templar hit, or it was just somebody he pissed off during his pirate days?
I think it was a Templar hit. I mean, he was mentor. Like, he was in charge of the assassins.
Oh, okay, so he's still in that position by this time. Okay.
Yeah, you don't retire from being mentor. You just die.
Something will happen to you.
Yeah. It's kind of like being Pope or Supreme Court Justice. Like, you don't retire. You just die. When Edward is killed, Hatham is adopted into the Templar Order, where he is raised to be a Templar, but still uses hidden blades for a cheeky... I'm so tired. Not plot hole. There's plenty of those elsewhere.
Irony?
No. When they pull a fast one on you.
Subterfuge?
The game tricks you into thinking Hatham's an assassin. I forget the
Oh,
word
a bait
for
and
it.
switch.
Bait and sure, we'll go with that one. Bait and switch.
See, I always
Hatham-
thought his use of the hidden blades was like Star Wars Day, so making a reference how like in one of the Legends novels, Palpatine has a quote where he says something to the effect of the Sith have outgrown the need of lightsabers, but we continue to use them if for nothing else to mock the Jedi.
Kind of, but also they are incredibly useful.
Yeah.
Especially back then. Hatham goes to the same opera that him and Edward went to, how funny, to kill the other co-mentor of the London Assassins and retrieve a key to an Isu temple. They know it's a key to an Isu temple. They don't know what's in the temple, and all they know is that it's somewhere in America. So Hatham goes to America and starts a chapter of the Templar Order in the United States, or what will become the colonies, what will become the United States, where he becomes the Grand Master. Hatham meets up with a Native American woman, and they have a son whose name is not Radong Hakedong, despite what some YouTube people will have you believe.
How did they pronounce it?
Radong Hakedong. It's Rata Haketun. They say it enough in the game. You can pick it up. I promise. Rata Haketun is out playing hide and seek. Oh yeah, okay. So we're in this fucky place with Rogue is happening at the same time as 3. Guy named Shay, don't remember his last name.
Cormac.
Levels a city. What?
Cormac.
Shay Cormac is an assassin. He levels a city in Portugal, is rightly freaked out by it. The assassins don't seem to care, so he bails, joins the Templars, hooks up with Hatham, neat, and then goes and fucking slaughters the colonial assassins because they're douchebags. Except for Achilles Davenport.
And that's where Achilles gets his limp.
Rata Haketun is a kid playing hide and seek when a man named Charles Lee, a Templar, finds him, beats the shit out of him, threatens to burn down his village, and then leaves. Connor wakes up after getting the shit beat out of him and finds his village on fire and rightfully assumes that it was Charles Lee. His mother dies in the burning. Later, as an adult, he sees a vision from Juno, Isu from the Capitoline Triad, telling him that he needs to go become an assassin. So he does. The Revolutionary War happens. Surprisingly enough, both the Templars and the Assassins want the United States to win. The Assassins because free will of the people, nonsense. And the Templars because they're like, it'll be way easier to defend this Isu temple, even though we don't know quite where it is, if we have control of the land. So the Revolutionary War happens. We find out that it was actually George Washington that burned down Hatham's village. And then it's not important anymore.
I forgot that Washington burned down the village. What?
Yeah, it's a big... So you start working with Hatham in a plot twist. That's what I was looking for. We got there, kids. We did it. In a second major plot twist, you find out that it wasn't Charles Lee that burned down your village, it was George Washington. And then it doesn't fucking matter. So, oh god. Eventually, Connor goes on to kill Hatham and Charles Lee and continues working with George Washington despite not quite liking him. In some order, he retrieves the key from Hatham. Then Juno tells him to hide it where no one will ever find it. This is a ruse because Desmond will find it. And then him and George Washington, recover an Apple of Eden where they see an alternate timeline where George becomes king. And George gets so freaked out by this that he has Connor drop the Apple of Eden in a lake. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, Shay goes on to cause the inciting incident for Assassin's Creed Unity in the French, not the inciting incident for the French Revolution.
He kills
but-
Arno's father.
He kills Arno's dad. For the sake of time and my sanity, Unity and Syndicate don't fucking matter and don't happen. The only relevant thing is that another sage pops up in Unity, his body's unrecoverable, and the whole game was pointless. In Syndicate...
But you get a cool Sword of Eden.
Neat. Still not important.
Not important, but a cool aesthetic.
In Syndicate, you're looking for a Shroud of Eden, which you find under Buckingham Palace, and you keep locked away. Jacob and Evie Fry. They're neat. Actually, they are important. Jacob's granddaughter, Lydia, I think was her name, is an assassin during World War I. Because we're getting into the 20th century now. Oh yeah, Napoleon also had an Apple of Eden at some point, and did fuck with that. Lydia is a assassin in London during World War I, eliminates a spy ring for Winston Churchill, and is the reason that in the UK women have the right to vote.
Nice.
Now we're on to the batshit crazy stuff. I'm going to read to you what I have written on my timeline, and you're not going to believe what I tell you.
Okay, we're ready.
From the years of 1900 to 1948 CE, we have the tale of Tesla, World War II, and the stupid attempt to kill baby Hitler.
Sounds like James Rhodes was involved there at one point. Just gonna take him and snap his neck.
They definitely tried. Also during this time, famous, I almost said musician, magician Houdini is outperforming, and guess how he does all of his tricks? With an apple of Eden. And guess how he dies? The Templars steal it while he's doing one of his tricks, and then he dies. Oops. Everything is pieces of Eden. Everything. So, Nikola Tesla falls into the role of inventor who finds a piece of Eden and becomes an even better inventor.
Okay.
He escapes the draft in his country and comes to America, where he meets Templar Thomas Edison. Fuck Thomas Edison even more now. Along with Templar Thomas Edison and Templar J.P. Morgan.
J.P. Morgan's a Templar.
Yes. Turns out all capitalists are Templars. Who would have thought? That's actually important for later. Not much later, but later.
I love that.
Edison and J.P. Morgan get really jealous of Tesla's Apple, and they steal it. And he goes mad trying to find it. Everyone kind of dismisses him then as the crazy guy who wants to fuck birds. And he presumably dies in the streets in New York in 1943. Except he doesn't. He's abducted by the Templars to do research and develop technology during World War II. World War II is incited by the Templars to level Europe and reconstruct it with capitalism because it's easier to take high positions of power with capitalism. Yup.
So the Brotherhood's like kind of really Marxist then, when you put them side by side.
A little bit.
I love that. I love that the Templars are like
capitalist pigs.
We're gonna use capitalism as a super weapon.
I should also mention that a company called Abstergo was founded in 1937. I have it written down. They're the ones who abduct Nikola Tesla. So the Templars incite World War II by kind of poking and prodding at different world leaders, and then finding this guy named Adolf and giving him an apple of Eden and telling him to go nuts, which they quickly realize was a big mistake.
The Templars find a guy named Adolf Hitler and find a way to get him rejected from art school.
I wouldn't be surprised. In realizing how fucking batshit insane Hitler actually is, they form an alliance with the Assassins. At this time, Tesla has also developed a kind of like very prototype animus. If you've played the games, you know what an animus is. It's what lets people go back and live the lives of their ancestors.
The Templars developed this.
Yes. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
As Abstergo is a shell company for the Templars, yeah.
Yeah. So now with this machine and Tesla operating it and the very brief Assassin Templar alliance, their plan, someone wrote this, someone wanted this to be how it happened. Their plan is to use that machine and an apple of Eden to go back in time and kill Hitler.
Does it work?
I can't. No! Instead, they hop forward in time 18 minutes, realize they should never fucking do that again. The Apple of Eden is greatly damaged, and somewhere in that frame, I'm really tired, reference of time, Tesla's murdered. There's a bunch of named characters running around at this time, too, that aren't historical figures, but I don't care about them.
Wait,
Read the comics.
I thought the whole point of the Animus was that you could relive moments of the past, but not change moments of the past.
Yeah, this is a pre-Animus, and I don't even know how it was supposed to work.
So essentially, they're realizing their mistakes, and that's why they created the Animus, specifically with in mind the fact that you shouldn't change anything. You should just observe and experience.
Or the actual time travel element isn't possible unless you use a piece of Eden to power the Animus to do actual time manipulation.
Yeah, I don't know how any of that worked. All I know is they hopped into the future for like 18 minutes, hopped 18 minutes into the future, came right back, realized they shouldn't ever try that again, and realized that they could use reliving memories to find things in history, such as apples of Eden that are undiscovered, right?
Right.
Also, briefly after World War II, Gandhi comes into contact with an apple of Eden and uses it to start the uprising in India.
Oh my god, everything.
Everything. The Templars kill him to get his apple, because he comes really close to overthrowing it, whatever. In 1963, JFK...
Oh my god.
The apple that... okay, so the apple that Washington and Connor... I never actually said Rattay Ketun changes his name to Connor Kenway. The Native American Rattay Ketun goes by Connor Kenway to make everyone else's life easier. The apple they threw into a lake is recovered and given to the president. Like, it becomes the presidential apple of Eden that nobody knows about.
That's what's in the nuclear football. That's what's in the suitcase. Not nuclear codes, just alien technology.
JFK's assassination is a Templar plot. So, what's his name? Lee Harvey Oswald is a Templar agent who kills JFK. In order to make sure that no one, it's very hard to prosecute him and it eats up a lot of time, they use a different apple of Eden to do the man on the hill thing that fucked with that investigation, where eyewitnesses claimed they saw a man on a hill that could have fired the shot. While that's happening, JFK's driver, who is also a Templar agent, recovers the presidential apple of Eden to deliver it to now President Lyndon B. Johnson, who is also a Templar.
What the fuck?
All of this to make sure the Apollo 11 project goes through, because it's actually a Templar project to recover an apple of Eden on the moon.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh my god. How is this even out? This is insane. How is this all...
to the point where This whole explanation, like, I'm so done.
I can't believe that all of this craziness is in supplementary material.
Actually, that wasn't.
It wasn't. What game was that in?
It's in Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay.
It's in side missions from a character I might cover later. I might skip some of the main timeline plot stuff for time. He leaves because there's a guy later on that lives basically all of history. Like, he jumps everywhere. He sees Adam and Eve. But like, he leaves trinkets for Desmond to find about things like Gandhi and Houdini and JFK. Like, all of these ridiculous things that are actually part of the Templar Assassin War. Anyway, so you guys know the missing link?
Yeah.
Like, the concept of the missing link. The reason that exists in the assassin world, like I said, is because we didn't properly evolve. Right? The Isu found a monkey they liked, worked on it a bit, and then you had people.
Okay.
Abstergo finds that out and then decides to stop people from really looking into it. They fake finding the missing link in 1997.
This is a lot. Like, even more than I realized it would be.
And now we are in the 2000s. I will not be covering what I have dubbed the crazy case of Cross, Clay, and Stillman, which are all relevant main characters to the main series games. I might cover Clay a bit. But when they were designing Assassin's Creed 1, they wanted you to be able to relive, quote-unquote, history as it happened. Again, obviously that's a bit. But also to have it relate back to this semi-dystopian, very near future. Assassin's Creed 1 came out in 2007. The game takes place in 2012. In Assassin's Creed 1, you're playing as Desmond Miles, a descendant of Altair and Ezio, who has been abducted by Abstergo, the Templars, to relive the lives of Altair and Ezio to find their apples of Eden. While you're there, you can get access to people's emails. I suppose that because of they're in an underground facility in Rome, they might not be up and up on, like, the newspaper. So you get news headlines in Warren Vidick's emails that talk about things like, oh, and remember, 2012 is like building up. This is September of 2012, and the apocalypse is supposed to happen on December 21st.
So we only have a few months before
Yeah.
all holy hell is supposed to break loose.
So in 2006,
Here we go.
a virus named L11 wiped out 96% of the population of Africa. It's dubbed the conspiracy theory, and no one talks about it. The end. It's never brought up again. Because, again, these plot points are forgotten for the Isu shit. Cinema doesn't exist anymore. Movies are just out of business. Because in a move of, look how big our cocks are, they say that because of rampant pirating and how much of a competitor video games are, movies have gone out of business.
There's a little bit of ego masturbation from Ubisoft.
We've retired the name hurricane season. It is no longer in the weather almanac because hurricanes happen so frequently now that they don't have a season. They just happen. And they've been ravaging the East Coast. So much so that people have been illegally immigrating to Mexico and causing several border disputes because Assassin's Creed, turns out, was way ahead of its time.
I love how we can see the gray matter oozing out of Joel's headphones right now.
This is the longest episode that I've ever been a part of, and it has been the most mentally taxing to follow.
And I'm leaving off what is probably the most mentally taxing part. I have this whole other section, again, about the main characters of the games and the stories following them. But I will get into that to spare you.
For those of you at home who couldn't see that, Joel just started kind of like poking at his ears to make sure they weren't bleeding.
Oh yeah, I wrote on there under 2012. I put actual 2012, like actually.
Like actually.
I'll read through the rest of my like little notes on the timeline. If you want to know anything else, I'll talk about it really briefly. So we have the curious case of Cross, Clay, and Stillman. Actual 2012. Abstergo becomes a Ubisoft self-insert. Project Phoenix, an ironic name, all things considered. In all caps, the movie is canon.
So how does the movie tie in? If you can explain that briefly, like what is it just that the movie is canon, or like is
so
there?
Here's why that's important.
Okay, that's my question. Is it actually important, or is it just canon?
Okay, so that's in 2016. First of all, at this point, Abstergo has developed the software that you don't need a person to relive their memories. You can just take their DNA and have someone else do it. But because it's the movie, they need... I don't know the main character's name. The guy Michael Fassbender plays. He gets abducted by Abstergo, relives his memories of some guy in Spain. I don't know the actual plot of the movie. But at the end of the movie, he assassinates the CEO of Abstergo.
What?
He assassinates what is presumably the Templar Grand Master of the modern day. And it's canon.
That's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Kind of a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. In 2017 CE, I have Ubisoft's writing team really likes to make its characters say fuck in the cringiest ways. Yes, I see me. And in 2018 CE, our new very bland protagonist is immortal because fuck you. That's why. And that's Assassin's Creed.
So could you...
Oh, I forgot. Wait, okay, this is important. I forgot that before World War II, Tesla...
we're going all the way back.
When Tesla has his Apple stolen, the assassins approach him and are like, hey, we're going to go fuck up some Templars in Russia. You want to help? And he's like, yeah, they took my Apple. You know Tesla's death ray everyone talks about that he built?
Yeah.
Fires that shit at Russia. Oh my God. Causes a massive explosion, killing a bunch of assassins because they couldn't get out in time, and destroying the Staff of Eden that the Russian monarchy was using to control the people, inciting the Russian Revolution of 1917.
What?
I always forget about that because I get so sidetracked by the baby Hitler nonsense.
Right. So, just briefly, how does the 2012 stuff get subverted? Like at the end of 3? Because this is important to the resolution
main character
of
of Desmond dies to bring Juno back from the Grey, only she's not actually back. She's still living in the Grey. Abstergo comes and gets Desmond's body, and she escapes into cyberspace through Abstergo's tech. So she's living in Abstergo's mainframes now. A sage living in the modern day is trying to find a vessel for her to live in. Can't find one, dies. Abstergo finds that sage and realizes that sages have about 5% Isu DNA, which is notable because it's triple helix. You can tell the difference. And they're like, hey, if we get enough of these things, we can make a whole Isu genome. We can bring them back. Hence, Project Phoenix. The joke is that It's ironic because it actually killed the storyline. Project Phoenix, because Juno can communicate with people through the mainframe, Project Phoenix becomes eventually a project to revive Juno using the Shroud of Eden under Buckingham Palace and the Isu DNA they've recovered over time since then. They are eventually successful. Juno is brought back with a body and then assassinated 2 pages. I don't know about 2 pages, that might be an exaggeration, but it's assassinated in the same comic book.
That is so much. There is so much shit that is like in supplemental material.
Also, one of the people involved in that is Desmond Miles' son, who is also a sage. Fuck you.
Desmond had a kid?
Yes.
When?
Desmond's born in 1987. He runs away at 16 in 2003 to New York. Right when he runs away to New York. Like, he gets to New York, does not have strong pull-out game for one night, and then goes on and lives off the rest of Assassin's Creed.
Jesus Christ.
I tell it how it is, baby.
Wow. And that is the insane Assassin's Creed timeline.
What's our time looking like? Where are we at?
We are at 5 minutes short of 2 hours.
Okay, I thought we were over 2 hours. Okay, let's talk about the modern day shit. I'm kidding.
Oh, I was hoping you were being serious.
I mean, there's not much more. Like, the Juno stuff's the most ridiculous shit. The new protagonist, Layla, is bad Abstergo writing. Abstergo, Jesus fuck.
That's what Ubisoft wants you to say.
It's bad Ubisoft writing 101. Same thing in Watch Dogs. All the writing's really cringy. Everyone says fuck for no reason. It's probably prevalent in prior Assassin's Creed games. It's just masked by the fact that they're saying it in a different language.
You say fuck in a cringy way. I go to like Dark Phoenix.
Yes, exactly. Exactly like that. In every other line for some characters. It's awful.
Joel, are you okay?
Yep.
We all heard the motorcycle too, if that's what freaked you out.
My street is like the worst.
Hey, there are cars all outside my window. It's bad.
So is that all you got, Travis?
Oh, okay. So the immortal thing, real quick, just to explain. For whatever reason, they gave Layla is the new protagonist name for the modern day. She has some form of dialysis, like her kidneys are fucked up. So being in the Animus like physically harms her.
Okay. Now, is she the one who's living the events of Odyssey?
Yes.
Okay.
She's also you might not have gotten far enough to leave the Animus in Origins. She's also in Origins.
I have not left the Animus in Origins. No, I kind of got to the point where I was like, this isn't for me anymore.
Brief spoilers.
Okay.
She's an archaeologist trying to become one of the heads of the Animus project at Abstergo. At the end of Origins, she's confronted by William Miles, Desmond's father, who is the current acting mentor of the Assassins, to come and work for them because she can do what she wants to do on her own terms with the funding she needs. And she's like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. In Odyssey, she lives the life of canonically Cassandra, but because they fucked that game so hard, you can play as Cassandra or Alexios. I can go on for this many hours, if not more, about why Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a bumfuck stupid game, and I also enjoy the gameplay.
Naturally.
But at the end of Odyssey, from what I understand, again, I haven't finished the game, but from what I've seen, at the end of Odyssey's ancient Greece story, Cassandra gets the Staff of Hermes and is now immortal. She lives to 2018, where her and Layla meet in the wreckage of Atlantis, where she passes the staff to Layla. So now Layla is immortal.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to do with that. If I'm being honest, I don't really care. I'm just excited to play as a Viking.
Well, I'm happy to know that your excitement for Assassin's Creed is still there. And that we kind of accidentally timed this project perfectly.
At this point, it's kind of just a morbid curiosity.
Well, Travis, we thank you for your service. We thank you for the fact that you've basically become the poor son of a bitch who has to watch and play all of the weird and terrible stuff so that we don't have to.
It's my own fault, man. Once I start down the rabbit hole, I don't try to stop the descent anymore. I just jump straight down. I do a leap of faith, if you will.
Yes.
Right. Now, I'll tell you, this is something that, like, I applaud you for, because that is a lot of information and a lot more than I will probably ever want to know about Assassin's Creed. But kind of am glad I got to listen to, thanks to your wonderful rendition of the overview.
Because and for those of you at home, this started. Travis and I we were all gonna play a game of like Cards Against Humanity online. And while Travis and I were waiting for other people to get into our Zoom call, I asked him how his Assassin's Creed replayings have gone. And then
I should mention this started because I had listened to a bunch of Hamilton one night and was like, I want to relive the American Revolution again. Assassin's Creed 3 wasn't bad. That was an incorrect memory. Assassin's Creed 3 is a very bad game. But I bought the remaster of Assassin's Creed 3, played it, was like, I want to play 4 again. Also, Syndicate's on sale, so I bought a Syndicate. And I played 4, and then I played the Ezio Collection, because I own that too. And then I played Syndicate, and then I played Origins, because it was on sale. And now I'm playing Odyssey, because it was on sale.
And yeah, because like Travis, you brought up the whole Africa got wiped out off camera thing when we were just bullshitting talking about Assassin's Creed. And I was like, you're kidding. There's no way that's true. I wonder how weird the rest of the timeline is. And then we found out about the assassins, like Hitler killed his body double, and then the assassins killed Hitler.
Yeah. And we don't know what happened to his apple.
Yeah, the apple's unaccounted for. And then you and I went, wow, this would be a funny episode to do. I wonder how much other weird shit there is. And then Travis took that seriously. And then now we're here.
I made mistakes.
And as payment for your mistake, Travis, where can the lovely people find you?
They can find me still ranting about these games because I haven't stopped yet on Twitter and Instagram, mostly Twitter, but Instagram at Travis Political.
And Joel, where can the lovely people find you not obsessing over the timeline of Assassin's Creed?
You can find me instead obsessing over Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and Star Wars and a million other things on my cosplay Instagram, Bass and Bacon Cosplay, and you can check out my many walks in this beautiful world that we live in, taking photos on my photography page, J. Basenbeck Photography.
You should use your Twitter more often.
I don't even have the app on my phone.
That's a damn shame. You
It's
guys,
worth your time.
you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. You can also find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, as well as our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can chuck in a couple bucks to help us keep the lights on around here. Don't let Travis's exhaustive research go for nothing. Help this boy buy himself a burger.
I did have Five Guys last week.
You did?
I did. It was worth it.
I felt Levi get angry. Just talking
I
about
even-
Five Guys.
I paid extra money. I got 2 orders of fries, 1 Cajun, 1 regular. I spent extra money.
Travis is like, I'll have 1 order of fries and then the fuck you Levi fries.
Basically. Also, because they don't have ketchup pumps, they filled my I have like at least half a bottle of ketchup and ketchup packets sitting on my counter right now that I don't want. That I will never use.
Just give that whole bag to Logan for his birthday.
I will gladly do
Because
that.
Logan is to catch up what I am to hot sauce, where like I just put way more on everything than I have any reason to. He does the same with ketchup.
Last I checked, you and your brother both consume condiments like they're juice boxes.
Yes, but Logan's go-to condiment is ketchup. Like this kid puts ketchup on spaghetti.
Ketchup.
And that is not a joke. He does. Thank you all for listening. Class dismissed, and your homework is to go play Assassin's Creed.
No, you don't have homework.
You have
Don't
homework.
study for finals like a responsible adult.
Do not
unlike
study.
me.
No.
Do the right thing.
Travis, shut the fuck up. Go play Assassin's Creed.